Hey guys, welcome to this video. I'm excited that you're here. We're going to talk about my favorite type of debt collection lawsuit, and that is the debt collection lawsuit where you've been sued and you win your case. So that's the most fun to talk about. We're going to talk about what do you do after you win your debt collection case. So first of all, congratulations, because most people don't even respond to the lawsuit, so they lose by default judgment. If they do respond, they agree to a consent judgment. If they get past that, they go to trial, except they don't show up to trial, so they lose. And those that do show up to trial will normally go out in the hallway, and the debt collector will convince them to agree to a judgment. And so you didn't do that. You made it all the way to trial, and you won your trial, so that's fantastic. Now, you do have to keep in mind that the debt collector has the right to appeal. So in Alabama small claims in district court, that's 14 days, and circuit court, it's a longer period of time, but generally we're talking about small claims in district court in Alabama. So two options here. One is more active, like you do something right now. The other is you just kind of take a wait and see approach. And we'll go through these one at a time. So the first is send a dispute letter to the credit bureaus. That'd be Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Innovis, SageStream, wherever this particular account that you were sued on, wherever it is credit reporting. And so you send the letter to them. And you may want to copy the debt buyer, the debt collector who sued you. Now, you can say, look, portfolio recovery, Midland Funding, whoever it is, they know I do not owe this debt. Or you may want to even reference fact that, hey, I got sued by portfolio recovery and I won. Here's a copy of the order saying I won my case. You have to use your own judgment on what's the best approach there. And so what happens after that? Well, we have a video that talks about sort of the whole dispute process, but basically once the credit bureau, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, etc., once they get your dispute, they'll let you know in about 30 days. So allow for, a week or so mailing time. So maybe in 40 days, 45 days, you're going to have an answer. And if the answer is it's deleted, that's great. We'll talk about that in a second. But if it's verified, that means they're keeping the account. If it's updated, that means they're keeping the account. So what did they update? Maybe they updated that you owe even more money now. I've seen that before, even though you won your case. So if it's verified or updated, then I would certainly look at suing under the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, and the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So the FCRA is what we normally think about when we do disputes to credit bureaus. But with the debt buyer, you need to look at the FDCPA also, because Section 1692E8 of the FDCPA is the section that says they can't do any false credit reporting. Well, if you won and they're continuing to report, then in my view, that's false credit reporting. Well, if it's deleted, what do? Well, you still may want to sue, because think about it from kind of a timeline perspective. You win your case, and then let's say a week later, the debt buyer updates your Experian credit report saying you owe the money. Well, wait a minute, you won your case. So at least in Alabama, it's my view that you do not owe the debt if you win. And then you dispute it, and then 30, 45 days later, they take it off. So you can't sue under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, but you may be able to sue under the FDCPA until they took it off. So definitely chat with the lawyer about that. Now, second approach is more of a, well, let's just wait. Let's see what happens. So you wait 30 days from your judgment, 45 days from your judgment. Then you pull your credit report and you look at that account. Is it on there? Now, it should be off. That's the approach I take, and have been taking this for many, many years. And I can't tell you how many lawsuits we filed over this in federal court. But see, do they take it off? Now, if they don't take it off, do they just leave it sitting there, or do they update it? So let's say you win on June 1st, and now it's July 15 or August 15, and you're pulling your credit report, and it's still on there. Portfolio recovery says you owe $5,000, but they haven't updated it since May. Well, then that's something that you have to look at closely. You may want to do a dispute, kind of force them to either keep it on there or get it off. But normally, if it's on there, these debt buyers at credit report normally are updating it every single month, kind of like clockwork. So If you win, my view under Alabama law, and if you're in a different state, you have to look at your own state. But if they say you owe the debt and you win, then that's a judicial ruling that you do not owe the debt. And so therefore, it would be false credit reporting for them to have it on your account. So if you just kind of wait, you don't send a dispute letter, you say, you know what, I'm going to give them plenty of time here. So again, I won on June 1st. Let's say they update your account on June 7 and then July 7 and August 7. They keep putting on there, you owe $5,000. And they know that they lost at trial. Then my view is you can sue them under the FDCPA. So there's a couple of sections that we look at, and we actually use other sections of the FDCPA, but Section E, 1692E and 1692F really talk about when they do something deceptive, they do something unfair. So let's think about this. If a judge has said, you do not owe this debt, and the debt collector says, I don't care what the judge said, I'm still going to tell the world you owe the debt. Well, that's a lie. And is that fair or unfair to do that? I can't imagine that a reasonable person would say that that is fair treatment to have a judge. Remember, this is Portfolio, Midland, whoever it is. They voluntarily came into court. They said, Judge, we want you to decide this issue. And then the judge says, yeah, consumer doesn't owe the debt. And then they go, I don't care. I don't care what that judge said. No judge is going to tell me whether a consumer owes me. I think that's unfair. It's also incredibly arrogant, which juries pick up on that. So you can look at suing them under the FDCPA. And there are other claims as well that you can do. But bottom line is, if you win, which that's great, congratulations, then decide if you want to do one of these two approaches. Do you take the sort of active approach of I'm sending a Fair Credit Reporting Act dispute letter to the credit bureaus? Or is it more of a, let me just wait and see. Let's see what this collector does. Because it's funny, when we send a dispute letter to the credit bureaus, they go, you're doing it too quick. I had one general counsel of a debt buyer call me because we had sued her company. And she said, John, this expectation that we're going to answer in 30 days, that's just way too fast. We need at least 6 months to realize that we lost our lawsuit against you. We filed so many cases, we can't keep up with them. So you have to give us at least 6 months, and you're being unreasonable with 30 days. My response was, well, that's what Congress gave you in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's not my date, that's your deadline. And so, you know, they sort of take this weird approach, and you do a dispute and they go, oh my goodness, it's too much pressure. You should have given us time. We would have fixed it. So the second approach is you just give them time. And then when they update it, maybe they update it again. It's like, well, obviously they're not going to fix it. So we sue them for that. Now, when we sue them for that, they go, if you had just sent a dispute letter, we would have fixed it. So understand, no matter which way you sue these jokers, they're always going to say, you're being unfair to me, and you should have done it the other way. So if you send a dispute, you should have not sent a dispute. If you don't send a dispute, they'll say you should have sent a dispute. It's just the way that they operate. You have to understand these debt collectors take the position. They are never at fault. They never do anything wrong. And they should be able to credit report with no consequences whatsoever. Now, they're wrong about that, but that's the argument that they make. So I appreciate you watching this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, 205-879-2447. And if you want any help with maybe doing a dispute letter or looking at your credit reports after you've won, a couple suggestions. Make sure you have a copy of the lawsuit, a copy of your answer, and a copy of the order where you won your case. That might be a dismissal with prejudice. It might be a judgment in your favor, however the court's ruled in your favor. And then have your credit reports. And if you did a dispute, have those dispute letters ready and whatever the results of investigation are. If you have all that handy, then when we talk by phone or do a video chat, it just makes it very easy and quick for us to go through and say, okay, everything's good to go. You're ready to sue, or we need to do a dispute letter, or we need to do a second dispute letter, whatever it might be. So again, thanks for watching this video. Feel free to put your comments below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.